I'm just going to ask for all board members to identify themselves and confirm that they can hear me right now. I'm wondering if it might make sense, just because of the brevity of tonight's discussion or meeting, to proceed with just the vice chair if that's necessary.
I think that sounds good.
Okay. So let me just give the introduction I would normally give, and hopefully if Rob is able to connect, he will jump on. So I just want to say good evening to everybody who's on the call or on the conference call. This is a go-to meeting with video, but we don't have much video this evening. I am the Director of Planning and Development, and I'm going to serve as host and the technical moderator for tonight's online meeting. As you can hear, if you've been here for a few minutes, you can see we're working out some technical issues dealing with board meetings online, whereas we normally would do them in physical meeting rooms where we can see each other. At any rate, I will ask that everybody please mute themselves when you're not speaking. That will help to prevent echo and background noise for other participants. I may, as the moderator, mute one or more participants to facilitate the meeting, and that's just to keep things smooth for everybody, try to prevent some conflicts. Anybody who fails to follow the respect for the formality of our proceedings may need to be dismissed from the meeting. This is no different than any public meeting that would be held at City Hall, so I would ask that everybody be respectful of the need to speak in turn and at the appropriate time of the meeting. So Ed, I think with you acting as chair, at least in the interim, would you mind just announcing yourself and calling the meeting to order? And then I can confirm all members are in virtual attendance.
Yeah, hi, this is Ed Cameron. I'm the vice chair of the ZBA, and as chair tonight, I will call this meeting to order.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to confirm the attendance of those members that are in attendance and obviously can hear and participate properly. I'll give one more last shout out to Rob, if you're there. Okay, it looks like that's still a problem. Stephen Delisle?
Present.
Mark Moore? Mark Moore, are you there? Can you hear us? If you could just unmute, maybe. Mark, if you are there and perhaps we're not hearing you, are you able to put a message in the chat box that you're there? It's hard to tell if you're hearing us.
I do see Mark listed as an attendee, and he seems to be unmuted, but he's obviously having some sort of a glitch.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll move on. Is Rachel in attendance, or are you in participating mode right now? Okay, and Ken?
Yeah, Ken Swanton's here. I also see Mark Moore just popped up in the chat box.
Oh, great, thank you. Yeah. Okay, so Mark, I guess, Mark, if you can hear us, you feel free to use the call-in number that's under I think it's the settings tab. You can also use the call-in number that was in the agenda as well as an alternative to using your computer if that's a problem. We've noticed that sometimes people have issues with that, so the GoToMeeting setup allows phone calls if that's necessary.
This is Ed Cameron. This may be future reference. I just set this up on my iPhone. So I think a smartphone is the way to go, and that app downloaded very quickly, and so I'm not dealing with a laptop or a desktop, and it seems all integrated. And I've had a lot of these problematic calls at work in the last week or so it's familiar territory.
Hey guys, this is Rob Trampetti. Can you hear me now?
Hi Rob, how you doing?
Hey, look at that. It's like NASA. We figured out a way to get Apollo 13 back. I don't know, man. I shouldn't use that metaphor, so I had all sorts of trouble. My apologies for the delay.
No worries. So you were able to connect by phone then, is that correct?
Basically, I tried it by, telephone hardline at my office here, and it didn't work. It just automatically muted. So there's some kind of a glitch where there's no audio control that at least the user, can control, or if they can, I don't know what it is. And then I tried via my computer, and then ultimately I just downloaded the app to my iPhone, and that seemed to work.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Mark, are you there? So I assume that Mark is still trying to connect again. So at this time, we have Rob, we have Ed, Stephen. Mark is partially connected, and Ken is in attendance. We also have, for the record, Gretchen Joy, who's our note taker. I am Andy Port, the Director of Planning. And if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin Sullivan, our planner, is also in the meeting.
Hi, Andy, I'm here.
Hello. So let me just address the members of the public who are in virtual attendance tonight. So tonight's meeting is being held for online, obviously for administrative purposes. That's specifically to take a formal vote to continue all the items that are presented on the zoning board's agenda this evening to another date several weeks out. This is for the purpose of maintaining the continuity of the board's proceedings on various permits and applications and the public hearings related to them for the benefit of applicants and other interested parties. This will also provide time for city officials to adapt to holding hearings online if public meetings as social gathering are prohibited for weeks or months longer. There will be no substantive discussion of the projects or applications listed on tonight's agenda. As such, there will be no public comment period this evening. Public comment will be permitted during the continuation of any hearing at future meetings. In the interim, questions regarding particular projects or applications should be directed to the Office of Planning and Development via email. I think that's preferred right now. We have easier access to our email than phones, although we do have access to our phones. It's a little more indirect. It'll therefore take us a little bit longer to respond to voicemails. Most information that people need is readily available on the city's website, and we are updating information and protocols as we're able. So, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chairman Petty, now that we're here, I would now recommend that in light of the COVID-19 outbreak and response and various emergency declarations that have been issued and the need to limit social distancing for at least several weeks, that the board entertain a motion to continue all agenda items without opening the hearing, deliberating, or taking any public comment until the last meeting in April. And I would be happy to offer that motion for the convenience of the board.
Thank you, Andy. And this is Rob Champetti speaking now. And Andy, I understand you have the form motion, and if you could go ahead and frame that motion for the members of the board in attendance and the members of the public who are logged on as well.
The motion would be to continue.
You're breaking up, Andy.
Regularly 7, yes. Ed, is there a question?
You were breaking up. You started talking, and there was, I'd say, a 10-second gap, and I heard you come back on.
Okay. All right.
You may want to redo that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was using my phone, and I got a call at the same time. I'm wondering if that interrupted it by accident. Thank you.
Hey, Andy, before you start, this is Mark Moore. Can you hear me?
Yes, Mark. Thank you.
Hey.
Wonderful.
Live.
So you're fully connected now, I guess.
Correct.
Great. Did that work better for you on phone? Just so we understand what worked.
Yeah, the phone's the way that I could get through.
Okay. Yeah, I think we found a lot of people, their microphones are not properly detecting on the computer, even though it should. So we found that phone lines are working better in this system. Again, we are looking at other platforms right now, Zoom, WebEx, and some others, just to see what will work best for us, particularly for public hearings. We may switch to another platform for future meetings, but I'll get to that in just a moment. So for all those that were just listening a moment ago, I was just issuing a draft or a suggested motion for the board to make to continue items on the agenda to a meeting in late April. So I'll read that motion. Motioning to continue all matters listed on tonight's agenda without deliberation or public comment until the board's regularly scheduled meeting at 7 p.m. on April 2020, including 12 54th Street, 29 Warren Street, 40 Low Street, 249 to 251 Water Street, 78 Middle Street, approval of the minutes from the 3/10/20 meeting, discussion of short-term rental units. That's a informal discussion. All of those items. Said meeting shall be located either at the City Hall auditorium or online via remote participation, confirmation, and access information to be posted on the city calendar accordingly, pending further guidance on COVID-19 protocols. All interested parties shall look to the meeting's calendar on the city website as April 28th approaches. Would any member of the board like to make that motion?
This is Stephen Delisle. I'll make that motion as read into the record by Andy Port.
Thank you, Stephen.
This is Ed Cameron. I'll second that motion.
Great, thank you, Ed.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded, and this is Rob Champetti. Andy, could you, do you want to call the roll for that vote? Or should we
Sure,
have our
thank you.
secretary do that?
Normally, this is easily and better done by the chair, but obviously I'll do it on this end right now just because keeping the tally with the technology end. So thank you, Chair. So Ed Cameron,
Yes. Yes.
Mark Moore,
Yes.
Stephen Delisle,
Yes.
Ken Squatton,
Yes.
and Rob Champetti.
Yes.
Great. So that motion is successful. All items, again, for the general public and anybody else interested, all items will be continued to 7 p.m. on April 28th. We will confirm the location either as the City Hall auditorium or an online meeting if necessary on the city calendar, pending what guidance we get from public health officials.
Thank you for that, Andy. I think without any further business, and correct me if I'm wrong, we can now entertain a motion to adjourn from one of our members of the board.
Mark
So
Moore here,
moved.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Well, that'll be second.
Ed Cameron.
Motion's made and seconded. Mr. Port, could you kindly call our roll for that vote, please?
Thank you. So Ed Cameron,
Yes.
Mark Moore,
Yes.
Stephen Delisle,
Yes.
Ken Swanton,
Yes.
Rob Champetti.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you having this quick phone call just to make sure our protocols are carrying things through smoothly. We will follow up on the future meetings, and members of the public, we appreciate your participation and adapting to us as we go online with meetings throughout this period. Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.